We have spent the last decade obsessed with Industry 4.0, trying to connect every sensor, every robot, and every medical device to the cloud. We built the connected world, but in doing so, we accidentally built the world's largest attack surface. Now, in 2026, we are entering Industry 5.0. It isn't just another marketing iteration. It is a shift from code automation to machine-agent collaboration. But here is the hard truth. You cannot have collaboration without trust. And you cannot have trust if your data is vulnerable to AI poisoning or the looming harvest of the quantum era. Ladies and gentlemen, I am Daniel To from Thales Cybersecurity Product. And today, we are going to discuss a little bit more about how we move past the connectivity hype to secure the integrity of the data-centric future. Industry 4.0 was all about automation, speed, and efficiency. Machines talking to machines, optimizing processes, reducing costs. As a result, this created massive data flows and increased in the attack surfaces. Industry 5.0, on the other end, is all about augmentation. The goal is to put the human back into the loop using AI and collaborative robots, also known as cobots, to handle the heavy lifting while humans provide the creativity, high-level decision making, and the objective is to build systems that are resilient, ethical, and sustainable. Industry 5.0 focuses on the human and machine collaboration. However, more collaboration also means more data exchanges across what we call the living supply chain. If Industry 4.0 gave us the connected world, I will go as far as to say that Industry 5.0 is giving us the autonomous world. Now, the challenge isn't just about keeping OT, IoT, and medical devices online anymore. It is ensuring that the AI agents making decisions on that data haven't been compromised, and the data itself remains quantum safe for the next decade. This is also why cybersecurity is foundational. In Industry 4.0, cybersecurity was very much of an afterthought. It is a checkbox, a compliance one, a back office IT-driven function. In Industry 5.0, this is where we have to shift the paradigm of thinking. Trust is always in the data, in AI, and in the autonomous systems that determines whether businesses and societies can function. Cybersecurity is the foundation of resilience in Industry 5.0. Without the trusted data, without secure systems, automation will collapse into chaos. And this is why security must shift from protecting the parameter to protecting the data itself as the data flows between humans, robots, and the AI agents. Now, I would like everybody to think of cybersecurity as the immune system of Industry 5.0. It doesn't just protect, it allows the organism to adapt, recover, and to thrive. For C-level executives at the board level, this means that cybersecurity strategy is no longer separate from the business strategy. It underpins continuity, brand trust, regulatory compliance, and sustainability goals. We must now view cybersecurity as an enabler of Industry 5.0 transformation, not so much as a cost center anymore. Let's use the raw material analogy over here. If Industry 4.0 was powered by automation, Industry 5.0 is powered by data as the raw material. However, unlike oil, data multiplies. When we share that securely, it doesn't diminish. The data grows in value when it is being secured. The digital ecosystem is also now a three-way conversation. Machines produce telemetry, humans produce behavioral data, and AI generates its own outputs. This creates an unprecedented scale and complexity. In 2026, AI is agentic. it makes decisions. Traditional security can't see what's happening inside an AI prompt. Now, with this explosion, it comes with risk. Sensitive data sprawls across hybrid environments, raising the question, who owns it, who controls it, and who can be trusted with that data. AI adds another layer of risk, hallucinations and poisoned dataset. This can mislead not just machines, but also the human beings and the executives making critical decisions. Of course, it is not all risk and danger. With this, it comes with new opportunities. When we handle this correctly, data becomes the foundation of collaborative intelligence. Humans and AI co-creating insights that are richer, faster, and more resilient. When data is trustworthy, it becomes the backbone of resilient systems, ensuring their continuity even in the face of disruptions. Now, my friends, AI creates that new attack surface for that new era that we are in. First and foremost, AI as a double-edged sword. It is not just a defensive tool, it is in fact being weaponized. Attackers can now generate polymorphic malware, launch adaptive phishing attack at scale, even poisoning AI training datasets. Adversarial AI is particularly dangerous because it doesn't just exploit vulnerabilities in our software. It exploits the very decision logic of AI systems that we rely on. Secondly, contributing to the new attack surface is the cyber-physical convergence. In Industry 5.0, where factories, energy grids, hospitals, and transportation are deeply interconnected, the line between cyber risk and physical risk disappears. A successful attack can move from data theft to a production stoppage to human safety incidents within minutes. To aggravate the whole situation, there is also a gap in terms of standards. While the regulations are evolving, they are fragmented. One country's AI security standard doesn't align with another country's. And global supply chains means that your weakest supplier can also be your biggest vulnerability. Now, without a harmonized standard, organizations face very uneven protections and incur higher costs. Last but not least, we cannot forget about the human. Insider threats, intentional or accidental, it remains as one of the most persistent risks that we have been trying to solve for the longest time. At the same time, human operators are also drowning in security alerts. Without explainable, trustworthy AI to filter and contextualize, fatigue sets in and mistakes do happen. This is where resiliency in the systems come in. It really depends a lot on the human and technology collaboration. As we mentioned earlier, Industry 5.0, it is not all about replacing humans with machines. It is about designing systems where human remains as the ethical anchor, as the center of control. Now, AI can tell us what is likely, but only humans can weigh what is right. Machines, we got to view them as a force multipliers because they excel at speed, scale, and spotting patterns in massive data sets. However, machines are only as good as the data pipelines feeding them. A corrupted data pipeline can lead to false predictions, and in a cyber-physical environment, that can mean halted production or even safety risk. And this is where we need the role of explainability of the AI to come in. Now, if we want executives, operators, and citizens to trust AI, we believe that it cannot be a black box. A explainable AI provides a feedback loop where humans can interrogate the model, validate its reasoning, and intervene whenever necessary. This synergy reduces error rates, builds trust, and not just in technology, but in the organizations deploying that AI. There comes with it a strategic implication. For leaders, the future is not just about choosing humans or machines. It is really about building secure ecosystems where humans and machines enhance each other's strengths and where cybersecurity ensures that the partnership is reliable. Now, let's talk a little bit about why trust matters. In Industry 5.0, resilience doesn't come just from the strong machines. It comes from the trusted data powering those machines. We really cannot emphasize this enough. It is all about the trusted data. A system is only as resilient as the quality and security of the data it depends on. If you are familiar with the classical CIA triad, now this classic cybersecurity model, which consists of confidentiality, integrity, and availability. However, Industry 5.0 requires more because now executives need to know not just whether is my data safe, but can I verify its origin? Can I trust its accuracy? This is where concepts like data lineage and data verifiability comes in. We must now look at trusted pipelines as the next generation of enabler. Data must be classified at the point of data creation, encrypted at the point of data in motion, encrypted at the point of data at rest. It must be monitored during use. It must be validated at consumption. So this builds a trusted data pipeline that not just enable AI, it's going to enable robotics and most importantly, decision making to function reliably, even in hostile environments. Some time back, zero trust began as a network concept, which is that we do not assume every and any connection is safe. In Industry 5.0, we can extend the same zero trust concept to data. To every dataset, every transaction, every model input, it must be continuously validated. So this ensures that when humans and machines act on data, they are acting on truth and not manipulation. There are some barriers that stops us from securing a resilient Industry 5.0. First and foremost, standards fragmentation. One of the biggest gaps today is the lack of harmonized standards. Europe, the US, and Asia are moving quickly, but they are also moving in different directions. Without global baselines for AI and robotic security, organizations operating across borders face inconsistent protections, and attackers exploit these gaps in the system. Secondly, data governance is also becoming more and more complex. Data sovereignty is becoming the new battleground. Every government wants control, every regulation demands compliance, and industries are caught in the middle. This fragmentation in data governance not only raises the cost of compliance, it also slows the ability to build resilient and collaborative data ecosystems. Thirdly, let's talk about utility versus protection. We need data to drive the collaboration between humans and machines and between human machines and AI. But every time we share the data, what we are doing, knowingly or unknowingly, is to expand the attack surface. Emerging technologies like federated learning or secure computation, they can help, but they are still niche, complex, and expensive. Now, I guess the strategic message over here is the real challenge isn't just technology. It is about combining governance, cooperation, and global alignment. If we do not close these gaps, Industry 5.0 risks being built on fragile foundations. If we want to build a resilient and human-centric security for Industry 5.0, there are three key pillars that we ought to look at. First and foremost, from protection to resilience. The future of cybersecurity, it is not about avoiding every data breach. It is about building systems that can bend, adapt, and recover quickly. Our executives should be asking, how do we measure resilience? How fast can our systems return to trusted operations after a disruption? Secondly, we need to look at the human and machine collaboration as part of our systems design principles. We must design systems that do not drown human operators in alerts, but to empower them with actionable insights. Explainable AI and intuitive interfaces means that our operators can validate, challenge, and refine machine-driven recommendations. This is where the real trust from data comes from. Thirdly, we need to look at global standards as a strategic imperative. Because today, no companies, no organization is an island. Supply chains are global today. Without harmonized standards, data risk leaks through the weakest partner. Industry leaders must push for international collaboration to define what secure AI and data use looks like, just as what we did with aviation safety decades ago. This is what I would like everyone to do, a strategic call to action. Pathways require leadership. It is not just about the technology. The companies, the government that lead in resilience, collaboration, and standard setting will define the future of Industry 5.0. And this is where I want to share a little bit to frame what Thales is doing in Industry 5.0 in this domain. At Thales, we do not just protect networks or devices. We secure trust itself, trust in the data. And in Industry 5.0, trust is the most valuable asset. Our history of working with governments, regulators, industry partners, the largest companies in the world, it means that we are not just following standards. We are helping to write them. This matters because fragmented standards are one of the biggest gaps we identified earlier. We need to switch gears and take a data-centric approach. Because at Thales, we believe that cybersecurity in Industry 5.0, it must be data first. It is not enough to just secure our parameters. We must secure the data itself across its entire data lifecycle. Now, this is how you create trustworthy pipelines that power resilient AIs and robotics. Looking ahead, quantum resilience and quantum computing is one of the most important factors we have to look at. Quantum computing poses one of the greatest existential risks to digital trust. Our investment in post-quantum security ensures that Industry 5.0 won't just be resilient today, but also 20 years from now. Last but not least, human-centric cybersecurity. We place human at the center of everything we do. Cybersecurity should empower our operators, our executives, and citizens with clarity, not just complexity. And this is why our focus on explainable, ethical, and human-aligned security solutions is very, very important. Earlier on, we spoke about post-quantum risk. In post-quantum risk, we talk about the harvest now and decrypt later problem. This is what happens today. The adversaries and the attackers are collecting encrypted data, waiting for the day for the quantum computer to be ready before they decrypt the previously collected and harvested data. At Thales, one of the quick wins that we have been prescribing is to do encryption at the network layer, doing it point to point, a bump in the wire. Using concepts like high-speed encryptor, what we can do is to deny the attacker to understand the underlying data transmitted over the wire. The encryption provided by the high-speed encryptors are PQC ready today. The immediate outcome, we buy time for system owners, we stop the harvest now and decrypt later problem, stopping man-in-the-middle attacks, and most importantly, it is negligible impact to all kinds of networks in the OT world, IoT world, and the medical devices world. To summarize the presentation, I would like to reinforce the message and the theme. And if there's one message to leave with today, it is this. Cybersecurity is no longer just protection, it is the enabler of Industry 5.0. The collaboration call out over here is the complexity of this era demands collaboration across industries, nations, and different disciplines. No single company, no single government or sector can do this alone. The trustworthiness of our data pipelines will define the resilience of our economies, our infrastructures, and our society. And this is where AI data security posture management becomes necessary. We need to know what sensitive data is fed into our systems and our pipelines, and we do need to block prompt injections in real time. For our leaders in the boardroom, it is an imperative. The question is no longer, should cybersecurity be a board level issue? It is, how do we embed cybersecurity into every decision as the backbone of our Industry 5.0 strategy? Closing off the topic, this is now our opportunity to design a future that is not just efficient, but ethical, sustainable, and resilient. Cybersecurity will be the compass that guide us there. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for your time today. To find out more, please visit www.thalesgroup.com/en/cybersecurity. Thank you.